Okay, so now we're going to write an equation from a graph or from a line. So there's a couple steps or a few steps to do this. So we know that we need this to be in slope-intercept form, which is a y equals mx plus b. Okay, we have to fill in this equation. So we need specifically to know for sure what to fill this equation out, we need to know the m, which is the slope, and the b, which is the y-intercept. Okay, so to find the slope of this line, one of two things you can do. You can either use rise over run, right? Find 2 points on the graph and then just count. Or you can find two ordered pairs and use the slope-intercept form formula. Okay, I'm going to show you both really quick. So the biggest thing though is that you're going to want to find a perfectly good ordered pair, a good point on this line. So you're just going to look for an area that crosses, right? So here you can see it's a good point right here. Okay, this looks like it's 0, 2. So I'm going to write out 0, 2. Okay, I'm going to show you the formula first, and then I'll show you the rise over the run. Okay, now we just need one more to be able to fulfill that formula. Okay, so I'm looking down here, and I'm thinking this is another good one because it intersects at 2 and -2. So I'm going to write down 2, -2. So my first order pair, x1, y1, was 0, 2. And my second order pair, x2, y2, was 2, -2. Now I can go ahead and fill in my formula, which I know is y2 minus y1. Now in theory, you're supposed to be saying y subset 2. Okay, but I'm for an easier way of identifying this, I'm just going to say y2, y1. Okay, and then that's going to be over x2 minus x1. Now go ahead and fill in these. So y2 is right here, -2, minus y1, which is 2, over x2, which is 2, and then x1, which is 0. This comes out to -2 minus 2 will be -4 over 2, which is actually a -2. So our slope is -2. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite it over here. I'm almost done. I just need to know my y-intercept, and I can have the whole equation figured out. So instead of m, we have -2x plus b. Okay, so how do you find the y-intercept? Now, if you remember correctly from the last video, I said that the y-intercept is going to be the point that connects or crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to highlight the y-axis. And can you see a point on the y-axis where the line is crossing? Okay, I'm just going to kind of highlight the line too. Let's see, I'll just do this. I'm going to highlight this line so you can see where it's crossing. Okay, notice this black section here. This is where it's crossing. Right here, right there. That's our y-intercept. That's at 2. Okay, so we've just figured out our equation from this graph. So -2x plus 2. This is the equation of this line on this graph. Let's look at another example. So I said I was going to do the rise over run. So let me try that on this one, and we can also do the points as well. So a couple things, right? So let's first start off with finding perfect cross points. Okay, so to me, right here's one. Okay, and another one looking at the line. Right here's another one. Okay, one of two things. You can either count the rise and the run, quickly get your slope, or you can take those ordered pairs and do the formula. To be honest, if you're using paper, it's probably a lot easier just to count. But if you're using something online, you might find it's a little hard to count, like you lose that focus. So I'm going to show you how you would count it. Because this is an increasing line, I'm going to count up. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the right. So I'm going to count up. Basically, this is what you're going to have. You need, oops, I went too far on that line. This line and this line. We're just going to count those spaces. So let me tick those off with some red. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going up 5 over right. Now we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So right here we have so far y equals 5/3 x. Now the last thing we need to know is our b plus b. B is our y-intercept. Ironically, I picked out a point that just happened to intersect with the y-axis, and you can see it right here, that black dot right there. Okay, that is crossing over the y-axis. No other point is on there except for that one. So this tells me that this is what, 1, 2, 3. So our formula, or sorry, our equation is going to be y equals 5/3 x plus 3. And there it is. It was a lot easier. Now you could also use the formula, the x, or the change in y over the change in x. So it would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But then you have to figure out these points. So you want to figure this one out, which would be -3, 1, 2, -2. So your first pair, and it doesn't matter what order you're doing these in. This could be your first set and the other one's your second, or the other one's your second and first. It doesn't matter. Okay, now this last point right here is 0, 3. Okay. So then there you go. You can just say that this is your x1, your y1, your x2, and your y2, and then plug in the information, and then you'll have the same slope. Okay, let's go ahead and just verify that. So let's just plug this in. So we're going to do our y2. Y2 is 3 minus of my y1 is a -2. Look how I'm putting that into parentheses because I want to make sure that we get the correct integer rules. Okay, and then the bottom is going to be x2. x2 is this guy, 0 minus x1, which is -3. Okay, so 3 minus a 2 is, you're going to actually add these. It's going to be a 5, and then it's the same thing. Look at that. It came out the same. 5/3.